The Rebellious explores the intersections of personal freedom, societal structures, and survival under pressure. The story unfolds in a luxurious but clandestinely operated hotel in Paris, run by Félix, who uses the space to provide escape and intimacy during a time of enforced isolation. The narrative shifts between the lives of those taking refuge in the hotel and those serving or working within its shadowy operations. The film begins on April 2, 2020, day 16 of confinement, establishing an atmosphere of tension and repression. The characters range from wealthy patrons seeking pleasure to marginalized individuals struggling to navigate life under extraordinary circumstances. Félix's hidden world. Félix, the mastermind behind the hotel's operations, offers a space where confinement rules can be bent or ignored. He allows his guests, many of them powerful figures, to engage in illicit activities, from clandestine meetings to intimate encounters with escorts. Félix's establishment thrives on secrecy, but its success depends on maintaining a precarious balance between discretion and indulgence. Key characters include Annabelle, an escort, who provides companionship to various clients while grappling with her own disillusionment. Ines, another escort, who contrasts Annabelle with her reflective and philosophical nature. Leo, a younger male escort, whose presence adds complexity to the power dynamics within the hotel. Lassana, a migrant worker, who shares stories of resilience from his past in Senegal and struggles with his role in this morally ambiguous setting. The guests' complexities. The guests bring their own stories and burdens to the hotel. Among them, Verger, a government minister, seeks solace in Annabelle's arms, expressing guilt over the lies he must tell as part of his political career. Their relationship underscores themes of hypocrisy and escapism, as Verger simultaneously decries the state of society while exploiting its vulnerabilities. Alex, a wealthy patron, frequently interacts with Félix, revealing the underlying power structures that keep the hotel's operations afloat. Her dialogue suggests a sense of entitlement and complicity in the system that perpetuates inequality. Couples and patrons, seeking to escape monotony or rekindle intimacy, use the hotel as a haven to reconnect in ways unavailable in the outside world. Through these interactions, the film paints a microcosm of a society where power and privilege dictate access to freedom, even during a crisis. Moral tensions. As confinement drags on, tensions rise among the characters. Félix's dilemma. Félix struggles to maintain control over his increasingly crowded and chaotic operation. When he shelters a nurse to save her from a grueling commute, concerns about exposure to the virus intensify. Félix's ambition clashes with his moral compass, highlighting the ethical compromises required to sustain the hotel. Annabelle's discontent. Annabelle grows weary of her role, questioning the performative aspects of her work and the lack of authenticity in her relationships. Her conversations with Ines reveal a longing for freedom beyond her circumstances. Lassana's struggle. Lassana recounts his experiences fleeing violence in Senegal, reflecting on how survival shaped his outlook on life. His perspective offers a stark contrast to the privileged concerns of the guests, exposing the deeper inequalities at play. Escalating conflict. The precarious balance within the hotel begins to unravel. A violent encounter. Lassana is assaulted by police while returning to the hotel. His injuries and fear of being tracked escalate the tension, forcing Félix to confront the risks of harboring marginalized individuals in a space designed for the elite. A moral reckoning. Verger's confession to Annabelle about his failing marriage and his use of escorts highlights the hypocrisy of those in power. His admission, "I respect my wife because she denies me," encapsulates his internal conflict between duty and desire. Ines's revelation. Ines shares her backstory, revealing a childhood spent in foster care and the systemic neglect that led her to her current life. Her monologues reflect a yearning for agency and the resilience required to carve out a sense of self-worth. The breaking point. As the narrative builds toward its climax, external and internal pressures collide. A police raid looms. Rumors of police investigations into illegal operations place Félix and his associates on edge. The guests begin to question their safety, and whispers of betrayal sow paranoia among the staff. Annabelle's defiance. Tired of playing her assigned role, Annabelle rebels against Félix's demands, refusing to cater to clients who undermine her dignity. Her actions inspire others, including Ines and Leo, to question their own complicity. A stand for justice. Lassana, emboldened by the solidarity of the staff, confronts Félix about the exploitation inherent in the hotel's operation. His impassioned speech forces Félix to reconsider his motivations, culminating in a decision to dismantle the establishment before it can be exposed. The fall of the hotel. The film's resolution is both somber and hopeful. A bitter farewell. Félix disbands the operation, urging his staff and guests to leave before the authorities arrive. While some express gratitude for the temporary refuge the hotel provided, others lament the loss of their sanctuary. Annabelle's liberation. Annabelle departs on her own terms, vowing to forge a new path beyond the constraints of her past. Her final act is a symbolic gesture of defiance, leaving behind the trappings of her former life. Lassana's new beginning. Lassana, inspired by the strength of his peers, decides to share his story with the world, using his experiences to advocate for justice and equality. Félix, the anti-hero. Félix, the orchestrator of the hotel, embodies the conflict between survival and ethics. A shrewd businessman with a knack for reading people, he thrives on providing a haven for the privileged during confinement. However, his moral ambiguity becomes apparent as he exploits both the desperation of the marginalized and the escapism of the elite. Félix's internal struggle comes to the forefront as the hotel's operations grow riskier. His justification for running the hotel shifts from opportunism to a belief that he is providing a necessary service. The raid rumors and Lassana's accusations act as a mirror, forcing Félix to acknowledge the exploitative nature of his work. In the film's closing moments, Félix dismantles the hotel, choosing to protect his staff and guests rather than cling to power. His final scene, where he stands alone in the Naumdi Hotel, serves as a poignant reflection on his role as both protector and exploiter. Annabelle, the voice of defiance. Annabelle's character arc is the heart of the film. Initially resigned to her role as an escort, she navigates the delicate balance between catering to her clients' desires and maintaining her own sense of agency. Her interactions with Verger and Ines reveal layers of vulnerability and strength, painting a nuanced portrait of a woman trapped by circumstances but unwilling to remain passive. Her rebellion against Félix is not merely personal but symbolic of the broader struggle for autonomy within a system designed to commodify her. Annabelle's final act, walking out of the hotel without looking back, symbolizes her refusal to be defined by her past or the expectations of others. Ines and Leo, the quiet revolutionaries. Ines and Leo serve as complementary forces within the hotel, each representing different facets of rebellion. Ines's introspection and philosophical outlook provide a counterpoint to Leo's pragmatic and opportunistic approach. Together, they form a bond rooted in shared experiences of marginalization and a desire for freedom. Ines's monologues about her childhood in foster care and her struggles to find stability resonate deeply, highlighting the resilience required to survive systemic neglect. Leo, on the other hand, brings a sharp critique of the performative nature of rebellion, questioning whether true liberation is ever achievable in a world that constantly seeks to categorize and exploit. Their decision to leave the hotel together suggests a hopeful future, one where solidarity and mutual understanding can pave the way for genuine change. Lassana, the moral compass. Lassana's character stands apart as the most grounded and morally resolute. His experiences as a migrant worker and survivor of systemic violence give him a perspective that cuts through the superficial concerns of the hotel's guests. His stories of resilience and perseverance serve as a reminder of the strength required to endure systemic oppression. Lassana's confrontation with Félix is one of the film's most powerful moments. His speech, calling out the exploitation inherent in the hotel's operations, forces the other characters and the audience to question their complicity in systems of inequality. Lassana's decision to use his experiences as a platform for advocacy underscores the film's message of transformation through action. Climactic raid, tensions explode. The long-anticipated police raid serves as the film's climactic moment, bringing the simmering tensions within the hotel to a boiling point. Félix scrambles to protect his staff and guests, while others attempt to flee or hide. Annabelle's defiance during the chaos, standing her ground against a patron trying to use her as a shield, becomes a defining moment of her arc. The raid exposes the vulnerabilities of the hotel's operation and the fragility of the facade Félix has carefully maintained. Guests and staff alike face the consequences of their choices, with some arrested and others disappearing into the shadows. The collapse of the hotel symbolizes the end of an era and the beginning of a reckoning. Conclusion, a testament to resilience. The Rebellious is a powerful meditation on the complexities of human relationships, the impact of systemic inequalities, and the resilience required to challenge them. Its characters navigate a world of confinement and exploitation, ultimately finding ways to reclaim their agency and redefine their identities. The film's open-ended conclusion leaves viewers with questions about the nature of freedom and the cost of rebellion, inviting reflection on their own roles within societal systems. By blending intimate character studies with sharp social commentary, The Rebellious delivers a poignant and thought-provoking narrative that lingers long after the credits roll. If you enjoy watching this video, then subscribe to Angel Recaps for the latest movies explanation.